You don't get kicked off a cruise ship by accident. It doesn't happen because you complained too much, or because you wore the wrong outfit, or because you annoyed a crew member. Getting removed from a cruise is rare, but when it happens fast, publicly, and without appeal. I spoke with former cruise staff, security officers, and passenger services managers who all said the same thing. Most passengers who get kicked off never think it could happen to them. They assume warnings come first. They assume someone will talk to them privately. They assume the ship will work it out. That's not how it works. Once a line is crossed, security already has a protocol in place. Bags are packed. Port authorities are notified. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're no longer a guest. You're a liability. Here's what makes this worse. Many of the actions that get passengers removed don't feel dangerous in the moment. Some seem harmless, some feel justified, and some are things you've probably seen other passengers do before. But the difference is context, timing, and how cruise lines enforce rules at sea versus on land. Mistake number 1 is physical confrontation, even if you didn't start it. Cruise ships have zero tolerance for physical altercations. It doesn't matter who threw the first punch. It doesn't matter if someone provoked you. And it absolutely doesn't matter if alcohol was involved. Security cameras cover nearly every public space on board. When a confrontation happens, security reviews footage, interviews witnesses, and makes a decision quickly. If you are involved physically in any way, grabbing, shoving, restraining, or striking, removal is almost automatic. Former security officers say this surprises people the most. Passengers expect a warning. What they get instead is an escort to their cabin, instructions to pack essentials, and removal at the next port, sometimes the same day. Mistake number 2 is threatening behavior or language. You don't need to touch anyone to be removed. Raised voices, aggressive gestures, or statements that make crew or passengers feel unsafe are enough. Saying things like, "You'll regret this," "I know people," or "You don't know who you're dealing with," triggers immediate escalation. Crew are trained to report perceived threats, not evaluate intent. If someone feels unsafe, security steps in. And once a threat is logged, the ship prioritizes safety over explanation. Mistake number 3 is tampering with safety equipment. This includes smoking in cabins or balconies, disabling smoke detectors, hanging items from sprinklers, or propping open restricted doors. These are not minor rule violations. At sea, fire is one of the biggest risks a ship faces. Passengers are often shocked by how fast this one escalates. There's usually no second chance. Cruise lines would rather remove one guest than risk thousands of lives over a preventable safety violation. Mistake number 4 is refusing crew instructions. This is where many removals actually begin. A crew member asks you to stop something, move somewhere, or follow a rule. You argue, you refuse, you escalate. Crew are not required to debate policy. If you refuse a direct instruction, especially from security, guest services, or ship officers, the situation becomes a compliance issue. At that point, the question is no longer what you did, but whether you're willing to follow authority on board. And that's a line cruise ships do not negotiate. You might think these are extreme cases, but what's coming next catches far more people off guard, because these are mistakes passengers make thinking they're being clever, harmless, or simply enjoying their vacation. And once you hear them, you'll realize just how thin the line really is. Cruise lines don't like to talk about how fast a vacation can turn into a removal notice. Most passengers assume getting kicked off a ship only happens to drunk brawlers or criminals. But according to former security officers and guest services managers, many passengers are removed for mistakes they never thought were serious enough to end a cruise. And once that decision is made, there's no arguing, no refund, and no sympathy. One former ship security supervisor told me, "By the time we speak to a guest face-to-face, the decision is already finalized. Everything before that is documentation." Here are the next mistakes that quietly move passengers onto that list. One of the fastest ways to get removed is tampering with safety equipment. This includes removing smoke detector covers, disabling balcony door sensors, or hanging items from sprinklers. Passengers do this thinking they're avoiding steam from the shower or creating more space. But cruise ships treat safety systems as non-negotiable. One cruise director said, "If you interfere with a safety device, we assume you're a liability to everyone on board. Even if it seems harmless, it's treated as intent." Another mistake is unauthorized cabin occupancy. Sneaking extra guests into your room, allowing non-registered passengers to stay overnight, or letting kids sleep in restricted cabins triggers automatic alerts. Cruise lines track keycard access and movement patterns. A former guest services manager explained, "We don't guess, we see it in the system." Once flagged, this often results in immediate disembarkation at the next port. Then there's harassment, and not just physical. Repeated verbal abuse toward crew, threatening language, racial remarks, or sexual comments are documented quickly. Many passengers believe complaining loudly gives them leverage. In reality, it does the opposite. Crew are trained to log incidents silently while remaining polite. One steward said, "The angrier the guest gets, the more paperwork we're quietly filling out." 3 reports from different departments can be enough to end a cruise. Ignoring medical directives is another removal trigger. If ship medical staff instruct a passenger to isolate, restrict movement, or follow treatment protocols and they refuse, cruise lines treat it as endangerment. This became far stricter after 2020. A former ship nurse said, "If someone refuses isolation, we escalate immediately. They're risking everyone's health." That escalation often ends with security involvement. Possession of prohibited items is another instant problem. This includes irons, hot plates, extension cords without surge protection, candles, drones, and certain medications not declared properly. Security scans luggage both before and after boarding. If an item is discovered later in the cruise, it's no longer a warning. It's a violation. One security officer said, "Day 1 is forgiveness. Day 3 is enforcement." Public intoxication combined with non-compliance is one of the most misunderstood mistakes. Being drunk alone won't get you removed. Refusing instructions while intoxicated will. Arguing with crew, ignoring security requests, or continuing disruptive behavior after warnings creates a clear paper trail. By the time passengers are escorted off, most don't realize they were warned multiple times already. And here's the one that surprises almost everyone: attempting to film or interfere with security operations. Recording security personnel, arguing during investigations, or refusing to hand over items when asked escalates situations instantly. Cruise ships operate under maritime law, not local hospitality rules. One officer put it bluntly, "You don't get due process on board, you get compliance or removal." What most passengers never realize is that removals rarely happen because of one big moment. They happen because of patterns. Small choices stacking up, warnings ignored, boundaries tested, and coming up next is the final set of mistakes, including the one behavior that cruise lines consider unforgivable, even if no rule appears broken. That's where things cross a line you can't step back from. At this point in the cruise, most removals aren't dramatic. They're procedural, quiet, and final. One of the biggest mistakes passengers make at this stage is assuming loyalty status protects them. It doesn't. Former guest services managers were unanimous on this: diamond status, platinum status, 100-night cruisers. None of it matters once safety or compliance is involved. One officer told me, "Frequent cruisers are sometimes harder to deal with because they believe the rules bend for them. That belief gets them removed faster, not slower." Another removal trigger is refusing to follow Port Authority instructions. This often happens during excursions or reboarding. Ignoring local laws, arguing with port officials, or returning late without authorization places the cruise line at legal risk. If a passenger causes a delay or intervention from local authorities, cruise lines will disembark them immediately to protect the ship's schedule and liability. One shore operations manager said, "If a guest causes us problems with a port, they don't sail with us again. Period." Then there's interference with crew operations. This includes entering restricted crew areas, blocking service corridors, or attempting to help in operational spaces. Some passengers think they're being friendly or curious. In reality, they're violating maritime safety protocols. A former chief officer explained, "Crew-only areas exist because one mistake there can injure someone or shut down part of the ship. We don't negotiate on that." False accusations are another line cruise lines take extremely seriously. Making unsubstantiated claims of theft, assault, or misconduct against crew without evidence triggers immediate investigation. If the claim is proven false or malicious, the passenger is often removed. Cruise lines must protect crew members from abuse just as much as passengers. One HR officer said, "False reports destroy morale. We act fast when we see patterns of manipulation." Refusing security searches is also grounds for removal. Cruise ships operate under strict maritime security codes. If security requests to inspect a bag, cabin, or item and a passenger refuses, that refusal alone can end the cruise. Consent is not optional on board. A security supervisor put it plainly. "You agree to searches when you board. Saying no later isn't a right. It's a violation." And now we reach the behavior cruise lines consider unforgivable. Threatening language. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be serious. Statements like, "You'll regret this," "I know how to make problems," or even joking threats are logged and escalated immediately. After years of global security incidents, cruise lines operate on zero tolerance. One director told me, "We never wait to see if a threat is real. We remove first and investigate later." By the time a passenger hears the words, "You'll be disembarking at the next port," the decision is already documented, approved, and irreversible. And in the final part, I'll explain exactly how removals actually happen, what passengers experience step by step, and the one thing you can do to make sure you're never even close to this situation. Because once security knocks on your door, the vacation is already over. When a cruise line decides to remove a passenger, it doesn't happen the way most people imagine. There's no shouting, no public scene. In fact, most removals happen quietly, early in the morning, long before most guests wake up. A security officer and a guest services manager will usually come to the cabin together. They'll be calm, polite, and direct. The wording is almost always the same. "You'll be disembarking at the next port. We'll assist you with the process." At that point, the decision is final. There is no appeal on board. Passengers are typically given limited time to pack essential belongings. Luggage may be escorted separately. Travel documents are checked, and the cruise line coordinates with port authorities to hand the passenger off safely. Transportation back home is not guaranteed. Any costs for flights, hotels, or missed connections are the passenger's responsibility. Here's the part most people don't realize. Being removed often comes with future consequences. Many cruise lines flag the guest's profile permanently. That can mean denied boarding on future sailings, restrictions across sister brands, or mandatory reviews before booking again. One former executive told me, "People think it ends at the pier. It doesn't." The good news is this. Nearly every removal starts with preventable behavior, small choices, assumptions that rules are flexible. Believing experience, age, or status creates exceptions. It doesn't. Cruise ships operate like floating cities with strict safety, legal, and security obligations. When passengers respect that system, removals almost never happen. And that's the real takeaway. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be aware, respectful, and compliant when it matters. Because the fastest way to ruin a cruise isn't a storm, a delay, or a missed reservation. It's thinking the rules don't apply to you. You've been watching Cruise Hacks Pro, where smart passengers learn what cruise lines never explain. Subscribe, because the next mistake might cost you more than just a vacation.